I remember the exact moment I realized my husband was going to kill me. Not might, not could, would. It was a Tuesday morning in March, unseasonably warm for New York. I was standing in our kitchen in Howard Beach, watching him drink his espresso at the table, reading the daily news like he did every morning. Sunlight came through the lace curtains my mother-in-law had given us. Everything looked normal, safe, but his left hand was trembling against the newspaper, and Sal's hands never trembled. Not when he broke a man's jaw outside Rouse. Not when the feds raided our house at 5 a.m. Not even at our wedding when I was 6 months pregnant and my father wouldn't look at him. But that morning, his hand shook. And I knew because I'd spent 23 years learning to read the language of silence. In a Mafia family, silence is everything. It's louder than screaming. It's more violent than gunshots. The things you don't say are the things that keep you alive. And that morning, the silence between us was deafening. My name is Angela Russo. Or it was. I don't know who I am anymore. For 2 decades, I was the wife of Salvatore Russo, associate of the Colombo crime family. Before that, I was Angela Benedetto, a 19-year-old waitress at a pizza place in Bensonhurst who thought she knew what love was. I didn't know anything, not about love, not about the mafia, not about the woman I would have to become to survive. This is the story of how I lost myself. And how I found something harder and colder in its place. It started the way these stories always start. With a man who seemed larger than life. I met Sal in the summer of 1987. I was working double shifts at Lombardi's on 18th Avenue, saving money for community college. He came in every Friday night with 3 other guys, always the same booth in the back. They never looked at menus. They ordered the same thing every time. Sal always had the veal parmigiana and a Peroni. He left a $50 tip on a $40 check. "You go to school?" he asked me one night. I was wiping down their table. His friends had left but he stayed behind, jacket draped over his shoulders like he was in a Scorsese film. He was handsome in that dangerous way. Dark eyes, Roman nose, gold chain visible at his collar. The kind of handsome that your mother warns you about. "Not yet," I said. "Saving up. For what? You wanna be a teacher or something?" "Accountant." He laughed. Not mean, just surprised. "An accountant? You're good with numbers? Better than I am with people." He smiled then, really smiled. I like that. Honesty. You'd be surprised how rare that is. I should have heard the warning in those words. But I was 19 and he was 31, and when he asked me to dinner, I said yes. My father lost his mind when he found out who Sal was. We were sitting in our cramped apartment in Bay Ridge, the one where I shared a room with my 2 younger sisters until I was 17. My father was a bus driver. Honest work, hard work. He'd come from Palermo with nothing and built a small, decent life. You know what that man is? My father's face was red. We were speaking in Italian, the way we always did when things got serious. "You know what his family does? He's in construction, Papa." "Construction." He spat the word. "Angela, don't be stupid. The Russos are connected. You understand what that means? Connected. I like him. You like him. Madonna, you like him." My father put his head in his hands. "Your mother and I didn't bring you to this country so you could throw your life away on a gangster. He's not a gangster. He's never been arrested, because he's smart. Which makes him more dangerous, not less." But I didn't listen. I was in love, or what I thought was love. Maybe it was just the attention. The way Sal made me feel seen. Special, like I was the only woman in New York. He took me to nice restaurants. Gave me jewelry. Introduced me to people who treated him with respect that bordered on fear. I convinced myself the rumors weren't true. That Sal was just a businessman. That my father was old-fashioned and paranoid. I was so stupid. We got married in January 1988. I was 6 months pregnant. My dress didn't fit right and I cried in the bathroom before the ceremony, not because I was scared but because I was embarrassed. My mother helped me fix my makeup. She didn't say anything but I could see it in her eyes. Pity, like she was watching me board a train she knew would crash. The wedding was huge. Over 300 people at a hall in Bensonhurst. People I'd never met coming up to kiss Sal on both cheeks. Pressing envelopes into his hands. Men in expensive suits. Women in furs. Everyone drinking, eating, laughing. But underneath it all, I felt something else. Observation. Calculation. Like I was being evaluated. Sal's mother cornered me by the bathroom. "You make my son happy," she said. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet, but she had eyes like a hawk. "You keep making him happy. You give him children. You keep his house. You don't ask questions. Capisci? I understand." "No." She grabbed my wrist. Her fingers were strong. "You don't. Not yet. But you will. And when you do, you remember. Family is everything. Loyalty is everything. You stand by him no matter what. No matter what you hear. No matter what you see. You stand by him or you have nothing. You are nothing." She released my wrist and walked away. I should have run then. Grabbed my coat and run out into the January night and kept running. But where would I go? I was pregnant. My father wouldn't take me back. I had $200 in my bank account. So I stayed, and 3 months later, I had my son. We named him Michael, after Sal's father who died before I met him. Michael Russo. From the moment they put him in my arms, everything changed. Not in the way people say it changes when you have a baby. I knew that kind of love, that overwhelming protective instinct. But there was something else. A new kind of fear. Because now I had something they could use against me. I didn't understand how the Mafia worked then. Not really. I thought it was like in the movies. Guys in social clubs, playing cards, talking in code. I didn't realize it was a business. A corporation with rules and hierarchies and brutal efficiency. Sal worked for his uncle, Dominic Russo. Uncle Dom, everyone called him, even though he wasn't related to half the people who said it. Dom ran a waste management company that was legitimate on paper but connected to everything illegal underneath. Garbage routes controlled by intimidation. No-show jobs for made guys. Trucks that hauled more than trash. Sal's job was collections. He'd leave the house at 9 in the morning in a nice suit, looking like any other businessman, and come home at 7 or 8 smelling like cigars and espresso. He never talked about work. Never brought it home. But sometimes the phone would ring at 3 in the morning and he'd get dressed in the dark and leave without a word. I learned not to ask questions. We lived well. A nice house in Howard Beach with a yard for Michael. New cars every 2 years. Clothes from Fifth Avenue. Vacations to Florida. Money was never a problem. There was always cash. Sal kept it in a safe in our basement. Stacks of hundreds held together with rubber bands. Sometimes $50,000. Sometimes more. "Where does it come from?" I asked once, early on. He looked at me like I'd asked him to explain gravity. "Work. But what exactly do you?" "Angela." He said my name softly but there was steel underneath. "You're a smart girl. Smart enough to know some questions don't have answers you want to hear. You have everything you need?" "Yes." "Michael has everything he needs?" "Yes." "Then what difference does it make where the money comes from?" That was the first time I learned the real lesson. Don't ask. Don't know. Don't see. The wives knew this better than anyone. I met them at family dinners, baptisms, weddings, funerals. There were rules, unspoken but absolute. We dressed conservatively. We didn't work outside the home. We raised the children. We kept beautiful houses. We smiled at our husbands in public and never, ever questioned them in front of other people. Marie Castellano took me under her wing. Her husband, Tony, was a captain in the family. They'd been married 27 years. She was the one who taught me how to survive. "You see everything and you see nothing," she told me one afternoon. We were having coffee in her kitchen in Mill Basin. Our sons were playing in the yard. "Your husband comes home with blood on his shirt? You soak it in cold water and you don't ask. You find a gun in his jacket? You forget you saw it. The FBI comes to your door? You say nothing, not one word, not even your name. But what if?" There is no what if. There is only one rule. Omerta. Silence. You think it only applies to the men? It applies to us even more. Because we're the weak link. We're the ones they try to flip. They think because we're women, we'll crack. We'll want to save our children, save our homes. And they're right, we do want that, but we want to stay alive more. Has the FBI ever come to you? She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Twice. Once after Tony got indicted in '82. Once after the Castellano hit. Both times I sat at my kitchen table with my hands folded and said nothing. Not a word. They threatened me, told me I'd be charged with obstruction, told me my kids would grow up without a father. I still said nothing. You know why I'm still here? Why I'm not at the bottom of the Belt Parkway? Because I kept my mouth shut. I thought about that conversation a lot over the years. About Marie's matter-of-fact tone. The way she could discuss possible murder over coffee like she was talking about the weather. I wondered if I would become like that. Hard, numb. I did. Michael was 3 when I saw my first real violence. We were at a christening in Bay Ridge. Sal was outside smoking with some guys when I heard shouting. I was inside with the women, but we all moved to the windows. Down in the parking lot, Sal had someone pinned against a car. A young guy, maybe 25. Sal was hitting him, not wild, controlled, methodical, 3 times in the ribs, once in the face. The women around me didn't react. They just watched, then turned back to their conversations like nothing had happened. Who is that? I asked Marie. Nobody important. She sipped her Prosecco, probably owed money, or showed disrespect. Either way, he won't make that mistake again. Should we what? Call the police? She laughed. Angela, baby, you need to understand something. This is how things get handled. This is our world now. You can't change it. You can only survive it. When Sal came back inside, his knuckles were scraped. He washed his hands in the bathroom and kissed me on the cheek like nothing had happened. That night, lying in bed, I asked him about it. I broke the rule. Who was that guy today? Sal was quiet for a long moment. Someone who needed to learn respect. You hurt him. I corrected him. Sal. He rolled over to face me. In the dark, I could barely see his features. You want out? Is that what this is? You want to take Michael and leave? My heart started pounding. No, because you can. Right now, pack a bag, take whatever you want, go back to your father. I won't stop you. I believed him. I also believed I wouldn't make it through the week. I don't want to leave. Then stop asking questions. What I do out there, that's my business. What happens in here, in this house, that's yours. We keep them separate. Understand? Yes. He kissed my forehead. I love you, Angela. You and Michael. Everything I do, it's for this family. You gotta trust that. But I didn't trust it. How could I? I'd watched him break a man's ribs in a parking lot. I'd seen the gun in his closet, wrapped in an oily rag. I'd heard the late-night phone calls, the coded conversations. I knew what he was. I just didn't want to admit it. The years passed in a strange blur. Michael grew up. We had a daughter, Francesca, in 1992. Sal moved up in the organization. More money, more respect, more danger. The FBI started following him in 1994. I'd see them sometimes, sitting in a car down the block. 2 men in cheap suits, pretending to read newspapers. Sal knew they were there. Everyone knew. It was part of the game. They got nothing, he'd say. They've been trying to build a case for 5 years. They got nothing because there's nothing to find. But there was. I knew there was. I just didn't know what exactly. The phone calls got more frequent. Sal got more paranoid. He'd sweep the house for bugs every few weeks. Made us change our phones constantly. Started meeting people in parks and diners instead of the social club. Something's happening, Marie told me one day. We were watching our kids at a playground in Marine Park. The families are nervous. There's talk of indictments. Big ones. How big? Rico. They're going after everyone. Maid guys, associates, even some of the wives. My stomach dropped. The wives? Money laundering, obstruction, conspiracy. They're getting creative. My lawyer told me to be ready. Ready for what? She looked at me with those hard eyes. For everything to fall apart. It started falling apart in the winter of 1997. Sal came home one night and I knew immediately something was wrong. It was in his face. The tightness around his mouth. The way he couldn't look at me directly. What happened? Nothing. Where's Michael? Upstairs doing homework. Frankie's asleep. Sal, what's wrong? He poured himself a scotch. Drank it in one swallow. Poured another. They flipped Bobby Grasso. I knew Bobby. Sweet guy. Associate like Sal. He had 3 daughters. He's cooperating? Wore a wire for 6 months. They have conversations. Meetings. Everything. Do they have you? He finally looked at me. Yeah, they have me. The room spun. I sat down hard on one of the kitchen chairs. How bad? Bad enough. Conspiracy. Racketeering. Maybe a murder charge. Murder? Sal, you never. I was there. That's enough. Being there makes you part of it. I thought I might throw up. What are we going to do? I got a good lawyer. Best in the city. He says we can fight this. But Angela, you need to understand. If this goes to trial, you're gonna hear things. Things about me, about what I've done, and you can't react. You can't show anything. You sit in that courtroom like a statue. You hold your head up. You show them we're not scared. I am scared. He knelt in front of me. Took my hands. I know, but you can't show it. That's how they win. They want to break us. Break the family. We stay strong. We stay silent. We survive this. You can do that? I nodded, but I was lying. I didn't know if I could. The indictment came down in March 1998. 18 people charged, including Sal. The DA held a press conference. I watched it on the news, standing in my kitchen, feeling like I was watching my life explode on television. These men have operated a criminal enterprise for decades. The DA said, through violence, intimidation, and corruption, they have terrorized neighborhoods, destroyed businesses, and taken lives. Today, we are sending a message. No one is above the law. Sal's arraignment was a circus. Reporters everywhere, camera flashes, people shouting questions. I held Michael's hand on one side and had Frankie on my hip on the other. I wore sunglasses and kept my head down. Don't engage, don't react, don't show weakness. Sal made bail, $500,000 cash. We put up the house as collateral. He came home that night and hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. It's gonna be okay, he whispered. I promise you, it's gonna be okay. But it wasn't okay. It was never going to be okay again. The trial started in September. Every day, I put on my best clothes and went to that courthouse. I sat in the same seat. 3rd row, right side. I held my hands folded in my lap. I kept my face neutral. And I listened to them destroy my husband. Wiretapped conversations. Bobby Grasso testifying about beatings, extortion, loan sharking. A murder outside a social club in Ozone Park. Bodies, money, conspiracy. And Sal, through it all, sitting at the defense table in his suit, taking notes, whispering to his lawyer. Like it was someone else's life they were dissecting. The worst day was when they played a recording of Sal talking about me. It was from a phone call. Sal and his uncle Dom, discussing the FBI investigation. They're gonna come at your family, Dom said on the tape. They're gonna pressure Angela. You sure she can handle it? She's solid, Sal said. She don't know nothing and she won't say nothing. She knows enough to hurt us. She won't talk. I know my wife. You better know, because if she becomes a problem, we gotta handle it. You understand what I'm saying? There was a pause. Then Sal's voice, quiet, I understand. I sat there listening to my husband agree to kill me if I became inconvenient. The prosecutor looked right at me when they played it, wanted to see my reaction. I gave him nothing. After court, in the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and cried so hard I thought I'd break. Marie found me. Angela, come on, pull yourself together. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear? I heard. And you need to forget you heard it. That's the game. They're trying to turn you. To make you scared enough to cooperate. Don't give them that. Marie, he would have killed me. She grabbed my shoulders. But he didn't. You're still here. Your kids are still here. That's what matters. Now wash your face and get back out there. Show them you're strong. I did. Because what choice did I have? The jury came back after 6 days of deliberation. Guilty on all counts. Sal got 23 years. He was 42 years old. Michael was 10. Frankie was 6. They took him away in handcuffs. Before they let him out, he looked at me. "Take care of them," he said. "I'll be home. I promise. I'll be home." But we both knew he was lying. The first year was the hardest. Learning to be alone. Learning to manage money without him. Learning to answer Michael's questions about where his father was and when he was coming home. I visited Sal every month at Otisville. 2-hour drive each way. We'd sit across from each other at a metal table in a room full of other inmates and their families. Talk about nothing. The weather, the kids' grades, anything but the truth. "You okay?" he'd always ask. "Fine, we're fine. You need money?" "We're okay. Dom sends an envelope every month." "Good, that's good. He's taking care of you." But Dom wasn't just taking care of us. He was keeping tabs on us. Making sure I stayed quiet. Making sure I didn't become a problem. I knew I was being watched. Cars that followed me to the supermarket. Men at Frankie's school events who I didn't recognize. Phone calls where no one spoke but I could hear breathing. The message was clear. "We're watching. Stay loyal." Marie was right. You see everything and see nothing. The FBI came to my house in 2001. 2 agents, a man and a woman. They showed up on a Tuesday afternoon while the kids were at school. "Mrs. Russo, we'd like to talk to you about your husband's associates." I stood in my doorway. "I have nothing to say. We know you're scared. We can protect you." "I'm not scared. I just have nothing to say. Your husband is going to die in prison. You know that, right? 23 years. He'll be an old man when he gets out. If he gets out, is that the life you want? Is that what you want for your children?" I looked at them, these people who thought they could save me, who thought fear would make me talk. "Are we done here?" The woman agent leaned closer. "Angela, we know what these people are capable of. We know you're afraid, but if you help us, we can help you. Witness protection, new identities, a fresh start somewhere safe." I said, "Are we done?" They left, but they came back 3 more times over the next 2 years. Each time, I said nothing. Because what would talking get me? The FBI couldn't protect me from the Mafia. Nobody could, and there was something else. Something I couldn't admit to them or to myself for a long time. I was one of them now. 20 years in this life had changed me. I'd learned the rules, absorbed the culture. I knew how to read silence. How to exist in the spaces between legal and illegal. How to be loyal even when loyalty made no sense. I'd become what Sal's mother told me to be on my wedding day. I'd become a Mafia wife. Not just in name, in my bones. Michael started getting in trouble when he was 15. Fighting at school, talking back to teachers, coming home at midnight smelling like cigarettes and cheap beer. "Your father wouldn't tolerate this," I told him. "My father's in prison. He doesn't get a say." He looked so much like Sal. Same dark eyes, same stubborn jaw. And I could see it happening. See him being pulled into the life. Dom started coming around more. Taking Michael to lunch. Giving him money. Teaching him things. "He's family," Dom said when I confronted him. "I'm just looking out for him. He's a kid, leave him alone." "Angela, sweetheart, you think you can keep him away from this? It's in his blood. Might as well prepare him right. I'm his mother, and I'm telling you to stay away from him." Dom's eyes went cold. "You're telling me?" We stared at each other. And I remembered the wiretap. The conversation about handling problems. And I backed down. "I'm asking," I said quietly. "Please, let him be a kid." "Sure, whatever you want." But it didn't stop. Michael was seduced by the money, the respect, the power. By 18, he was running errands for Dom. By 20, he was deeper in than Sal ever was. Frankie went the other way. She hated everything about our life. The secrets, the lies, the violence humming underneath everything. "I can't wait to leave," she told me when she was 16. "I can't wait to get away from all of this." "Where would you go?" "College. Far away. California maybe. Somewhere normal." "This is normal. This is our family." "No, Mom, this is sick. What we are, what Dad is, it's sick. And you've just accepted it. You've let it swallow you whole." She was right. But admitting that felt like betraying everyone I'd spent 2 decades protecting. You don't understand, I said weakly. No, you don't understand. You've forgotten there's a world outside this. You've forgotten you had dreams once. You were gonna be an accountant, remember? You were gonna have a real life. I have a real life. You have a prison. It doesn't have bars, but it's still a prison. And you're so deep in it, you don't even see the walls anymore. After that conversation, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about 19-year-old Angela, the girl who wanted to go to community college, who thought she could build something honest and clean. What had happened to her? Sal got out in 2016. He'd served 18 years. He came home a different man. Thinner, grayer, quieter. The kids barely knew him. Michael was respectful but distant. Frankie didn't show up for his homecoming. She was at UCLA studying law. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. She hates me, Sal said that first night. We were lying in bed, the same bed we'd shared decades ago. But we were strangers now. She doesn't hate you, she just doesn't understand. And Michael? Michael is making his own choices. Dom's choices. Maybe. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I'm sorry, Angela. For all of it. I'm sorry I put you through this. I wanted to believe him. But sorry doesn't give you back 20 years. Sorry doesn't undo the fear, the lies, the slow erosion of everything you used to be. I know, was all I said. Sal tried to go straight. Got a job at a construction company. Legitimate work, but it didn't last. 6 months later, he was back with Dom. Back in the life. I don't know how to be anything else, he told me when I confronted him. This is who I am. Then what was the point? What was the point of 18 years in prison if you're just gonna come back to this? The point is I'm alive. I survived. That's the point. But he hadn't survived. Not really. Prison had taken something essential from him. He was a ghost of the man I married. Going through motions. Pretending at a life that was already over. The FBI came back in 2017. Same female agent from before. She was older now, tired looking. Mrs. Russo, your son Michael is being investigated. My blood went cold. For what? RICO charges. Extortion. Conspiracy. Same as his father. He's a kid. He's 29 years old and he's been working for the Russo crew for a decade. We have him on surveillance. We have informants. Angela, we're going to indict him. And when we do, he's looking at 20 years minimum. I couldn't breathe. Unless, she continued, you help us. You cooperate, testify about the family operations, and we can make a deal for Michael. Reduced charges, maybe probation. You want me to betray my family to save my son? I want you to save your son before it's too late. I thought about Michael, my baby, the little boy who used to fall asleep on my chest, who I'd protected his whole life. And I thought about Sal, about Dom, about the rules, the codes. Omerta, I need to think, I said. You have 48 hours. After that, we move forward with the indictment. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd realized Sal was going to kill me all those years ago, and I tried to figure out what to do. If I talked, I'd be dead within a week. Dom would see to it. But if I didn't talk, Michael would go to prison, would waste his life the way his father had. There was no good choice. There was only survival. I called Sal. We need to talk. He came over the next morning. We sat at the kitchen table with coffee between us. The FBI came to see me, I said. They're going after Michael. His face went hard. When? They're filing indictments soon. They want me to cooperate. Testify. In exchange for a deal for Michael. And what did you tell them? Nothing. Yet. He studied me. You thinking about it? He's our son, Sal. He's a grown man who made his own choices. He made the choices you made. The ones Dom pushed him toward. He didn't have a chance to be anything else. You blame me. I blame all of us. Myself included. We let this happen. And now our son is going to pay for it. Sal stood up, walked to the window. If you cooperate, you're dead. You know that. I can't protect you. Dom won't allow it. I know. Then why are we having this conversation? Because I need you to tell me what to do. For once in 23 years, I need you to help me figure out what the right choice is." He turned around, and I saw tears in his eyes. Sal, who I'd never seen cry, not even when they sentenced him. "There is no right choice," he said. "There's only the choice you can live with. Or die with." I thought about that for a long time. The FBI called me 2 days later. "Mrs. Russo, have you made a decision?" I looked around my kitchen. At the life I'd built. The prison Frankie said I couldn't see. "I have." And I took a breath. "I'll testify." The silence on the other end was shocked. They hadn't expected me to break. "We'll need to arrange protection. Get you and your family to a safe location immediately." "No, I stay here. I testify and I stay here." "Mrs. Russo, that's not possible. Once you go on record, you're a target. I've been a target for 30 years. This is my home. I'm not running." They tried to talk me out of it, but I was done listening to people tell me what to do. I made the choice. Now I'd live with it. Or die with it. The news spread fast. Within hours, everyone knew. Angela Russo was cooperating. Angela Russo was a rat. My phone rang constantly. I didn't answer. Marie called 17 times. Finally, I picked up. "How could you?" She was crying. "After everything. After all these years. How could you betray us? I'm saving my son. You're killing yourself. And for what?" Michael made his choices. He was a child when he made them. We failed him. All of us. You think this makes it right? You think becoming an informant washes away the blood? No, nothing washes away the blood. But maybe I can stop there from being more. She hung up on me. Sal called next. "You actually did it." "I did. Dom wants to meet with you. Tell him I'm done meeting. I'm done with all of it." "Angela, this isn't a game. You can't just walk away. Watch me." I hung up before he could respond. The next few weeks were surreal. FBI agents in my house 24 hours a day. Preparing my testimony, going through decades of information. Names, dates, operations. Everything I'd spent my life pretending not to know. And at night, lying in bed with a loaded gun on my nightstand. I waited for them to come. But they didn't come. Days turned into weeks. The trial approached. And I was still alive. I found out why from Marie. She called one last time. "Dom wants you to know something," she said. Her voice was flat. "He's not going to kill you." "Why not?" "Because you're already dead. You're dead to all of us. To the family. To everyone you've ever known. You'll live but you'll live alone. That's your punishment. Living with what you've done." She hung up, and I realized she was right. I'd saved Michael but I'd lost everything else. My friends. My community. My identity. The trial happened in the fall of 2018. I testified for 3 days. Told them everything. About the operations, the violence, the structure of the family. About Sal. About Dom. About all of it. The defense attorney tried to break me. Called me a liar, a scorned wife, an opportunist. I sat there and took it. Because I'd taken worse for 23 years. Michael got a deal. Probation and time served. He was out within 6 months. He didn't thank me, didn't speak to me, just disappeared into a new life somewhere I don't know. Frankie was the only one who understood. "I'm proud of you," she told me, "for finally choosing something real. It doesn't feel real. It feels like I destroyed everything. You destroyed a lie. That's different." Maybe she was right, but the lie had been my life. And now I didn't know what was left. Dom got 25 years. Sal violated his parole by associating with known criminals and went back for another 5. Most of the family either went to prison or disappeared into retirement. And me? I'm still here, in my house in Howard Beach. Alone. People cross the street when they see me. Mothers pull their children away. I'm a ghost in my own neighborhood. The woman who broke omerta. The woman who chose her son over the code. I don't regret it, but I don't celebrate it either. Because both choices would have destroyed me. I just chose the destruction I could live with. Now it's 2026. I'm 57 years old. Michael calls once a year on my birthday. Frankie visits every few months. We have coffee and talk about her cases and her life, and she never asks about mine. I go to the supermarket alone. I watch television alone. I eat dinner alone. And sometimes, in the quiet of my house, I think about that girl in Lombardi's. The one who wanted to be an accountant. Who thought she could build a simple, honest life. I wonder what she would think of me now. If she'd be proud or horrified. If she'd understand the choices I made or condemn them. Most days I don't know myself. But I'm alive, breathing, still here. And in this world, in this life, that's something. Maybe not much, but something. Last week I saw Marie at the supermarket. She was older, grayer, tired looking. Our eyes met across the produce section. For a moment, I thought she might speak to me, acknowledge me, but she looked away and kept walking. I wanted to call out to her, to explain, to make her understand that I didn't betray her. I betrayed the system that had swallowed us both. But what would be the point? Some bridges can't be rebuilt. Some choices can't be explained. I paid for my groceries and went home. Made myself dinner for one. Sat at my kitchen table where Sal and I used to share coffee. Where I'd fed my babies. Where I'd made the choice that saved my son and destroyed my world. The sunlight came through the lace curtains my mother-in-law gave me 30 years ago. I should probably take them down. Replace them with something that's mine. Something that doesn't carry the weight of a family I no longer belong to. But I won't, because even in exile, even in this lonely aftermath, they're a reminder of who I was, what I survived, the price I paid to finally choose something real. I married into the Mafia when I was 19 years old. I spent 23 years learning to be invisible, to be silent, to see everything and nothing at the same time. And then I spoke, and the sound of my voice brought down an empire. Was it worth it? I don't know. Ask me in another 20 years. If I'm still alive, if I haven't disappeared completely into this silence I chose. But I'll tell you this. I can sleep now. For the first time in 30 years, I can close my eyes without wondering if they'll come for me in the night. Without calculating escape routes. Without checking the locks 3 times before bed. I broke omerta. I destroyed my family. I condemned myself to a life of isolation. But I saved my son. And maybe, just maybe, I saved myself too. That morning I mentioned at the beginning. The Tuesday in March when I knew Sal was going to kill me. I was wrong. He didn't kill me. The family didn't kill me. I killed myself. Killed the woman I'd become. The Mafia wife. The keeper of secrets. The loyal soldier in a war one never wanted to fight. And from the ashes, something new. Something harder. Something that belongs only to me. I don't know if that's redemption. But it's survival. And in this life, survival is its own kind of grace. I'm Angela Russo. I was a Mafia wife for 23 years. I broke the code. I told the truth. And I'm still here. Still breathing. Still standing. Still learning who I am without the weight of a family that was never really mine. This is my story. Not the story they told in court. Not the story they whisper about in social clubs and at family dinners. My story. The one where I chose my son over silence. Where I chose myself over loyalty. The one where I finally, after 30 years, found my voice. And used it.